Hey geeks, Merry Christmas. All right. Back from the holidays. Well, I guess we got one more to go with New Year's Eve, but I'm back from my little Christmas vacation. Went down to sunny Florida. Um, kind of a quick trip. I think I was there for 3 or 4 days. Had a lot of fun. Had an opportunity to go into Coliseum of Comics. Some of you might be familiar with them. Coliseum of Comics is a gaming and comics chain. I want to say in the southeast. I don't know if they're. I don't think they're nationwide. They might be in other parts of the country, but I know that they've got some stores in Georgia and Florida, and maybe North Carolina. I think they're a franchise, possibly, and they're primarily a kind of a split between, probably a 50-50 split between gaming accessories and board games and so forth, and new comics, trade paperbacks, and used comics. So usually they'll have a back issue section, they'll have a new comic section, and then they'll have a few bookcases of indie, DC, and Marvel graphic novels and trade paperbacks. And they have a stamp reward system. Used to be they gave you like the little cards, they do the stamp on it, and then you work your way up. You get like certain discounts and so forth. And they recently went to a digital stamp system, which is cool because I used to lose my cards, and when you lose your card in the old system, that's it. They have no record of what your stamps are, so you can miss out on discounts. Mm, coffee from the Transformers mug. And my thoughts on them is that they're a decent comic book place. I'm not really there for the gaming, but they do host game tournaments and I'm sure game nights, and they have those types of things scheduled. And it's all Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer, Magic the Gathering, and so forth. They sell a little bit of collectibles and a lot of Funko Pops. For a store that's probably the one that I went to, for a store that's about maybe 1,000 square feet. Boy, they cram a lot in there. So kudos to them for the merchandising. The one I go to has a giant Hulk statue at the front door. I mean, huge, right up to the ceiling. This thing's got to be 15 feet tall and probably about 13, 14 feet wide. Like it's like, it's a full size Hulk statue. So that's pretty cool. Um, and so I've been going in there for a while, and their used issues are. I'm not sold on the pricing of their used back issues. They do have a good selection, but I think their pricing on used comics is a little bit above average. Um, their trade paperbacks, really no discounts on those unless you've got the stamp rewards that are built up. But they do have really good. The one I went to had really good dollar bins, at least in my opinion. They had pretty good dollar bins. So I got this. I got this haul. They wrapped it up for me, nice. I like it when they wrap up the haul in these bags. And let's see what we got here. Where to begin? So I'm going to show off the haul. This is my Christmas holiday haul from Coliseum of Comics. Ah, yes. So out of the dollar bin, let's go through those comics first. Got a copy of Phantom Force #1. Is this? Yeah. So this cover is a mashup of Jack Kirby and Rob Liefeld, which is like oil and water. Artistic oil and water, but somehow it works. It works. And I think I've got the Phantom Force trade paperback. This is one of these comics that was, I guess, approved by the Kirby estate after he passed away, and there were various companies that were running with some of his concepts, like Image, I guess, and Topps especially. I thought Phantom Force was a Topps property, but I guess it was Image. So, yeah, yeah. This was, it says 225 on here, but this was in the dollar bin, so this is a buck. Let's open it up, take a look at it. I don't know if Liefeld has finished the artwork in the rest of the comic book. Maybe he did. Plots and pencils, Jack Kirby. Script by Jack Kirby, Michael Thibodeau, and Richard French. Inks by Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Eric Larson, Scott Williams, Jerry Ordway, and Danny Mickey. Colors by Steve Oliff and Oli Optics. Lettering by Kurt Hathaway. Okay, so all-star lineup on the inks here. And then, of course, you know, all of the pencils apparently were done by Kirby. So this was some sort of an unfinished work by him. I'm going to try to speak directly to the microphone because I know in the last video, if I'm blocked by a comic book, it like muffles my voice. Yeah, this is pretty cool though. Sorry about the glare, but it actually lights up the comics better with the light I've got behind here. Yeah, so looks like maybe they took his original pencils and brought in a bunch of heavy hitters at the time. I think this was in the 90s. Let's see. Yes, first printing 1993. So this is an issue number 1, first printing. It's in good shape. It looks great. This is worth more than $1. I would have paid like $5 or $10 for this. The Scheme. Oh, I miss Jack Kirby. Wow. Look at these panels. Look at those eyes. This actually looks pretty damn cool. Oh, we got some Kirby action here. A little sumo wrestling action. Yeah, this is pretty neat. All right. I have to read that later on. I found a couple of issues of Joe Golem, Occult Detective, from Dark Horse, issue number 1. And issue number 2. I have seen these. I thought I saw a novelization. I was not aware that there were comics. I think this guy started as, was it novels or I'm not sure. But love the cover art. And you know, Mike Mignola, Christopher Golden, Patrick Reynolds, Dave Stewart, all contributing. What's the tape situation here? Let's look at issue number 2 because there's less tape on this one. Let's pop it open and see what it looks like. I've seen these around. I haven't bought them before, but for $1, I was like, you know, I'm going to check these out. I like this sort of occult detective genre. Ooh. Yeah. Story by Mike Mignola and Christopher Golden. Art by Patrick Reynolds. Colors by Dave Stewart. We start out with some monster action. The color palette is very limited, but that's what you want, I think, in in a noir comic. It's it's a dark, kind of dark and moody. Apparently there's a creature from the Black Lagoon type. A creature from the Black Lagoon type of monster that's terrorizing. And the occult detective might become his victim, as you can see from the cover. All right. Don't know how many of those were published. Don't know how long the run is, but I will check into that. There's probably a TPB of these. Okay. Justice League America, 2004, Secret Files and Origins. All-star cast here. Kurt Busiek, John Byrne, Dan Green, Dan Jurgens, Joe Kelly, Doug Mankey, Al Milgrom, Jerry Ordway, just to name a few. This, I kind of thumbed through it. I mean, it looks kind of a Justice League anthology, a lot of different creators. Starts out with a Superman story. Or some Superman action. Here we've got the Justice League hanging out, probably at the JLA satellite. Let's see. 2004. Files and Origins. Yeah, so a couple of scripts here by Joe Kelly, Kurt Busiek, Joe Kelly, and Dan Slott. I guess this was just kind of a JLA sort of a story anthology. These might be some reprinted stories that DC was doing. And I don't have I've never seen this before. $4.95 retail. Got it for $1. No holla. First Wave, issue number 1. So you can see on the cover here, Batman, the Spirit. The dude in the middle, I think, is Doc Savage. This was very intriguing when I saw this. At first, I've never heard of it, never seen it. Brian Azzarello and Rags Morales. So there's some good pulpy action crime noir with Batman in this, but apparently also the Spirit and Doc Savage. I mean, you can't say no to a lineup like that. And there's an ad there for WonderCon. So let's see, what year? They put the indicia in the back these days a lot of the times. They used to put it on the front page. Dan DiDio, so this got to be 2000. What year was this published? The lettering is so small. 2010. 2010. Okay. Trying to get a double. So many ads. There we go. Just trying to find a page where there's double spread. Again, muted color palette, modern digital coloring. Not a huge fan of it. I don't know anything about the premise of this or what the story is, or how they set it up that Batman meets the Spirit, meets Doc Savage. I'm sure that there's some explanation to it. There's the spirit. There's Will Eisner's spirit. A lot of spirit in this. I haven't even seen a panel with Batman yet. I don't know. I'll read it and see what I think. Maybe I will collect them. One of six. So there were 6 issues of this miniseries. If you know, drop a comment. And don't forget, I always forget to say this. Don't forget to like. It's free. And subscribe, also free. And my channel is not monetized. I don't have enough subscribers or views, apparently, according to YouTube. I guess you could buy me a coffee. But I don't think I've set up one of those links yet. I need to do that. Because coffee helps, $3, $4 here and there. Let's see. These I have seen around. John Carpenter's Tales of Science Fiction. This was an anthology. This is from Storm King Comics. This was an anthology series. This is issue. Oh no, it's only 3 issues. It says issue 2 of 3. I thought there were more issues than that. So, series created by John Carpenter and Sandy King, who I think is his wife. Published August of 2017. So, yeah, these are basically space horror comics, but it's an anthology, so there's self-contained stories in each one. I think the artwork in this comic book is pretty cool. Again, dark, limited color palette, but sense of dread in space where no one can hear you scream is kind of what they're going for. Yeah, if you like, alien monsters found deep in space, maybe rogue robot AIs, and other things of that nature, like this, then these comics are for you. And if you like John Carpenter, which I think everybody likes John Carpenter, what's your favorite John Carpenter movie? Mine is, it's a toss-up between Vampires and Prince of Darkness. Probably Prince of Darkness because it was just so creepy and so weird. And it had that science angle to it. It was really something that was like straight out of H.P. Lovecraft. Whereas Vampires, the cast of that movie was just superb. James Woods was like off the chain in that movie. Just every line out of his mouth was just hilarious. But it had some really good vampire action. So if you haven't seen John Carpenter's Vampires or Prince of Darkness, check those out. Of course, everyone knows him for the Halloween, Halloween 1 and Halloween 2. I guess he did that one too. But yeah, but those 2 other films to me were his best. Mm. I mean, got to throw in Escape from New York too. Have you ever seen Escape from L.A.? It's not his best, but I believe there's maybe a director's cut of that movie somewhere lost out there that's probably better than what was released in the theaters. I mean, it wasn't horrible. My most primary memory of Escape from LA, one was I didn't realize it had even come out, so I didn't catch it until it was on cable like 5 years after it came out. 2, the soundtrack was pretty cool, but 3, the special effects were horrible. Especially at the end when he's like surfing, which was just ridiculous with Peter Fonda. It probably would have made a better comic book than a movie. Let's just put it that way. It's worth checking out, though. You know, I mean, come on, it's John Carpenter. All right, what do we got? What else we got here? Infinity Incorporated annual, the Degaton Paradox. Um, I have some of these, so I don't know. Let me back up here. 1988. Okay, yeah. So at the tail end of my childhood collecting years, Infinity Incorporated showed up. I think DC was kind of promoting it as a secondary story, maybe in Justice League. You know how they would just like promote comics and they would throw in like 4 or 5 pages of something else, you know, in somebody else's book. And I don't remember a whole heck of a lot about it, other than that I loved the name Infinity Incorporated. Was like a pretty cool name for a corporation. Let's see who's involved with this, and I know that there's a. I think I grabbed another Infinity thing. We'll get to that. I don't remember how long it ran. It is a superhero team of what could maybe be considered the D-list or C-list superheroes. But I think DC does a really good job of that type of thing, especially when Jeanette Kahn was running the show. They were taking some shots with a lot of books where you had sort of these B, C, and D list superheroes and supervillains, and they were trying to get them, trying to get them out there up front, trying to see if they could get some sales generated with them, and I think it's that kind of attitude that sort of carried over to what James Gunn is known for, especially what we're seeing now with the new Superman movie and with Creature Commandos, which you may know I'm not a fan of that show, but he reaches in for some pretty obscure, DC heroes. And then with the new Superman movie, it looks like we're going to get Crypto, which like I never thought we would see Crypto in a movie, you know. So and then Guy Gardner as Green Lantern. That's awesome. Yeah, that's like you going for some deep cuts. So I know everybody's all like up in arms about it. Like why would you want to put all these C-list characters in this movie? Hawk Girl and Guy Gardner, and because that's what James Gunn does, and it usually works. So maybe by the end of this movie, those characters will be household names, and everyone will love them, just like Guardians of the Galaxy. Dead Face. Harrier Comics. Dead Face by Eddie Campbell. I picked this one up mostly for the art. I don't know anything about it. Clearly, it's an indie. 32 pages. It went for $1.75. It's black and white. It was published every month by Harrier Comics or Mad Dog Graphics. Evidently, they were publishing some Alan Moore comics. What is the publication date? April of 1987. And as far as I can ascertain, this is about a sort of a pirate looking dude who is immortal. And the opening shots are of him sitting in jail. And yeah, this other inmate says, "Hey, old man, what are you in for?" And Deadface says, "Drunk and disorderly." "Ha ha, you look old enough to know better." Is 4,000 years old enough? So this is issue number 1. So I grabbed it. I like the artwork. I like the pen and ink that's going on here. This was no doubt part of that so-called 80s black and white explosion in comics. It looks like it's you know, a rather interesting fantasy noir. I don't know. I get Neil Gaiman vibes from it for some reason, and I don't really like Neil Gaiman. But for some reason, it makes me think of him. Maybe it's kind of like, maybe because it reminds me, maybe it's kind of like an American Gods type synopsis or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll check it out. It's in pretty good shape for $1. Can't pass it up. 32 pages of artwork and story. And we'll see what's up with that. It just seemed interesting. Um, Son of Origin of Son of Origins of Marvel Comics, issue number 1. I have the is it Son of Origin? The original book that Stan Lee did that came out in the 80s. I have that around here somewhere. I have How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema. I'm looking at it right now, but I don't know where my Son of Origins is. I think it's in one of my long boxes. So when I saw this, I was like, well, is this like a reprint of it? And it might be. This is essentially, these are basically just, they're reprints. And that's the lineup of what we got there. Daredevil number 1, Incredible Hulk number 1. But for some reason, I got the feeling that maybe this was different content than the original book. But it's always fun to look at these. This is the first appearance of Iron Man. Classic. There's a Doctor Strange in here. Yes. I think so. Is that a Kirby cover? It might be. Asbestos Man. The perfect foil for the Human Torch. I think this is some with that glare, but it is the coloring. I think that's some Ditko art there. We got the Thor origin story. It's pretty thick book too. So yeah, if you want to refresh yourself on some Marvel characters, there's Daredevil. Excuse me. The Shadow, issue number 1 by Sienkiewicz and Helfer, August 1987. I do not have this. I did not get this. In '87, Sienkiewicz was very popular. Still is, but I mean, I think he was really hitting his prime then. He was doing all kinds. He was doing Elektra, um, New Mutants. Oh yeah. I don't think I was aware that he did a Shadow comic book. There have been other iterations of the Shadow, and I've been trying to collect them when I find them. There have been various publishers that have done the Shadow. Top Cow, I think, did it. DC has done it more than once. I think this happens because the shadow, I think, should be in the public domain. So really anyone can do a shadow story now. But to get Chicanets on it is a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool. The thing about his artwork is, I don't know really anything about his process. I'm sure I can probably find YouTube's on video. I know that cartoonist Kayfabe did several episodes, I think, about Sienkiewicz. But it looks to me like he uses like a lot of thin technical pen when he does, and I don't know. I just for some reason don't even think that he uses pencils. I think he just goes straight with his pen onto paper. And if he makes any mistakes, he probably just does some whiteout touch up. But he's so good that he doesn't. You can tell by his art style that his mistakes are left in, so-called mistakes. It's his style to be rough. It's his style for happy accidents. And I think he's just so comfortable working in that way, and that's one of the things that makes his artwork so unique. I wonder if he colored this too. Let's see. I wonder how many issues of this ran. I'd like to get them all. I don't see the creative team credits on here, so I don't know who colored this. But anyway, yeah, very cool. I'd buy that for $1. And I did. I did buy it for $1. No, no, it was bagged, but there was no cover on it, or no backboard for it. All right, I'll just mess with that later. And there's no board on it. Makes it harder to get the books in there. Clash. It's another comic book. DC. Another comic book I'm not familiar with. Tom Veitch, Adam Kubert. Um, but it looks cool. 1991. This was published. Don't know what it's about. I get kind of Indiana Jones vibes from it though. It's not really as you can tell by the cover. So it's not really a superhero book. It's more of a action adventure type deal. Intrigue, mystery, quests for treasure in far off lands type of a deal. And around the time that this was published, Indiana Jones was still, a big thing. I think 91. So that's was that. Let's see. When did Indiana Jones 3, The Last Crusade? I think came out around that time period. Was it 90 or 91? And Temple of Doom was 88, and I think Raiders was 84. But I bought it for the artwork. It's another issue, number 1. So I thought, yeah, I'll check it out and see. Reminds me, artwork reminds me a little bit of Simonson, but maybe. Oh, this one was weird too. This is another issue, number 1. Icarus, flagship of the Interstellar Rescue Foundation. This is definitely an independent published. This was Aircell. So, what is the deal with Aircell Comics? I don't mean that in a bad way, but I don't understand. Was it their goal to sort of make Power Comics like give them a publishing platform for people that were, how should we put it, emerging comic talent or self-taught comic artists. Um, I don't know. I gotta do more digging on what Aircell's mission statement was. But all of their comics are definitely, I think, made by people who were not professionals. Not that there is anything wrong with it, because this looks freaking amazing. But they were people that just otherwise they're not going to just like be able to stroll on into Marvel or DC and get a job. They're not doing the house style. This is very like, you know, this to me is like self-taught artistry. Whoever did this comic. Um, I mean, a lot of comic book artists are self-taught, but they do eventually take formal art training. Let's see. Illustrated by Dave Cooper. This is essentially, some kind of a space opera, sci-fi. Again, black and white explosion. Published 1986. 1986. I was collecting comics in 1986, and I never saw any of this. I didn't even know that Aircell existed back then. I only became of Aircell existence maybe 15 years ago, just thumbing through back issues and stuff and seeing that there was this company called Aircell that was publishing comics at some point. So yeah, we'll check it out. Issue number 1. Um, it looks pretty cool. I like the artwork style on it. It's definitely got kind of a Mobius, influence vibe to it. Justice League International, Mr. Miracle, 1990 World Tour. So I grabbed it because it had Mr. Miracle on it, and it had a lot of supporting cast. Guy Gardner, Power Girl, Fire and Ice Huntress, John Jones, Blue and Gold, Booster Gold, and Blue Beetle. Let's see if we can find the Guy Gardner. So it is a Mr. Miracle story of some sort. This 2-page spread is very cool. There's some sci-fi for you. There's like, I don't know if they're like connected globes, space stations. Keith Giffen did the plotting. Len Wein did the breakdowns. Script by Joe Phillips. Penciler Bruce D. Patterson. Inker John Costanza. John Costanza shows up quite a bit in DC as an inker. Yeah, I guess this is, some kind of a interaction between Mr. Miracle, Scott Free, and Justice League. Let's see Big Barda in this, though. Where's that Guy Gardner? Oh, yeah, here he is. There's Guy Gardner. And it looks like he's angry and being a jerk, as usual. Martian Manhunter's got to hold him back. Let me go, Baldy. Let me at him. Let's see. There's Metamorpho, Power Girl, Huntress. Justice League International Special, another issue number 1. I grabbed it because it had Mr. Miracle and Justice League International. I don't know what this is, but the cover looked cool. But I don't know what it is. Offerings, Book 2 for mature readers. Well, that counts me out. Yeah. All right, we got to take a look at this one. Sorry, this is a long video, but we're looking at comics. I like making videos like this because it's like, it's like you're just coming over to my crib and we're looking at some cool comics that I found. got a good back cover too. Digging that artwork, man. Digging that artwork. I think that the back cover is better than the front cover. All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh. Written and drawn by Richard Kane Ferguson. Goodness gracious. 1993. Published by Cry for Dawn Productions. This looks like it was maybe a self-published book. Check out that line art, man. Dude. That's totally rad, man. Look at that ink wash in that. Who is this guy? Holy guacamole. Dude is rocking the sequential art. This is so metal. this is bad. Oh, I gotta find the other issues of this. This is badassery. Bro. This is so wild. This is insane. This this is artisan comics here, man. This is I just admire guys like this. Written and drawn, the whole thing is just there's no Marvel method here. This is all his creation, and it must have taken him. It must have taken him a long time to create this. With this level of art and detail, even if it is just black and white, man, this dude can draw. If y'all know anything about this comic or this artist writer, drop a comment, yo. This is this, I gotta find more of these. I gotta find more of these. And you know, I don't even think I don't think I'm even gonna like keep an eye out. I'm gonna get online and look eBay or mycomicshop.com. There's some. This looks like Frank Miller influence too. These three top panels here. Dude is like changing art styles. Wow, this is just incredible. So, okay, so Cry for Dawn Productions. Looks like they were publishing some other books too. I don't know. This kind of reminds me of Liam Sharp, who's active today, but I don't know what happened to this guy, Richard Kane Ferguson. I wonder if he's still active. I hope so. Man, dude. All right. That's a that's a new obsession. Now I got to find all the other issues of this, but anything else this guy has done, written, drawn, or both, I want to see it. What's it? Adventures of Superman. I bought it because it's got Lobo. Issue number 4, 1992 annual. That's a Joe Quesada cover. That looks more like Bizarro Superman than it does real Superman. Let's see who is on the duties here. Again, where's the creative team? And this is this looks to be about 40 pages, maybe 50. I don't know. Who do y'all think did this artwork? There's Guy Gardner again. I would be angry too if I had that bowl haircut. I would always be angry if I had that bowl haircut. When was this published? 1992. So I would have been 1982. Oh, I was working for the corporation then. I was working for Chase Manhattan Bank, as they used to call it back then. So I wasn't collecting comics. Should have been, but it wasn't. So this just whizzed right by me. I don't know. I don't know who the artist is. I don't see any credits. That's not cool, man. Not cool. Why don't they put the credits in this? It's very strange. Right. I like it though. Legion of Superheroes annual. Who shot Leslie Kent? Um, October 1985. I think I have a copy of this because I would have been collecting this in 1985. But I don't remember it being. This is on Baxter Paper. This is when Baxter Paper was just kind of getting popular. It was coming on the scene. But it's Paul Levitz, Keith Giffen, and Carl Kessel doing the art. John Costanza. Can't stand ya. Man, Costanza was doing lettering just on all the big DC titles in the 80s, wasn't he? Just, dude was everywhere. It makes sense. I mean, he's a good letterer. Who's that? We got Brainiac. Brainiac. God, I've almost forgotten all of the. I gotta catch up and reread all my Legion of Superheroes stuff. I mean, it was like like 33 different heroes in the in the book anyway. So it was hard. It was hard to keep up with all the superheroes in this team. Ooh, some couple good pages of silhouette. Good use of silhouettes in there. I really like the paneling in this comic. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I might remember reading it. Uh, Armageddon, the Alien Agenda. So I have some other issues of Armageddon. I'd never heard of the Alien Agenda though. This says Monarch battles Captain Atom in this issue. This is issue number 1. The epic saga continues. So I guess this was the sequel to Armageddon. I think I have the entire Armageddon set. Yeah, so I figured, well, I'll get that. There's another issue of John Carpenter's sci-fi. Uh, this is issue. So now this one says issue 1 of 8. The other one I looked at said issue 1 of 3. So there's got to be like 2 different sets of you know they probably renewed it, probably sold well, probably had a 3-issue arc planned, and then you know rebooted it and so forth. Um, so this is a Justice League book also. That lettering is just Haven. Yeah, Haven. I like the cover, but that lettering is like I had to I had to really look at it to like what? Just JLA what? Yeah. Not sure when this came out. I'm thinking 90s also. let's crack it open. Might as well stretch this out to an hour-long video. My other ones have been around 17 minutes lately. Okay, who do we got here? This is published in 2001. Writer Ashley Jane Nicholas and Matthew P. Schuster. Artists Ariel Ovoletti. Letterer Bill Oakley. No Costanza on this one. Colorist Rob Rowe and Alex Blayart. Cover art Ariel Olivetti. I've seen his name before, or her name. Don't know much about, but pretty cool. And there's the city. That's what this is about. A city crash lands in California. I guess aliens come out and all hell, as they say, breaks loose. It's kind of a mini graphic novel. So I don't think this comes from like in any individual issues of Justice League. It is a self-contained story of some sort. I think this might be during the President Luthor era, maybe. Yeah, it looks that way. So yeah, I read the synopsis, and it looked interesting, and it's Justice League for $1. And it's printed on high quality paper. And I did not have not read it before, so I thought, what the hey? Pick it up and check it out. All right. Joe Kubert presents Hawkman, USS Stevens, Angel and the Ape, issue number 1 of 6. So didn't know that this existed. It's all Joe Kubert art, which is pretty amazing. I take that back. It's mostly Joe Kubert art. It's not all Joe Kubert art. There are some other artists involved. So again, it's just kind of an anthology. This is sort of a spoof or parody. I think Gorilla Grodd is in this story. Then you've got some pencil sketching comic artwork being showcased. Not sure who is doing that. USS Stevens by Sam Glanzman. So we got some. Can't have a Joe Kubert comic book anthology without some war comics. That is for sure. Yeah, so I guess Kubert was, I don't know, I guess he was just kind of helming this anthology 6-issue run, and he was doing some Hawkman. He's doing some Hawkman and Hawkgirl stories in it. And they were publishing these. There's a self-portrait of the man himself. There was a time when I didn't really care much for Joe Kubert and Alex Toth. I used to get the two of them confused because they do have sort of a similar art style. But now, I like both of them, especially after looking at some of their books where it was just focused on their artwork. JLA Gallery. A lot of Justice League in this dollar box. Yeah, so this is literally just a lot of artwork of Justice League by various artists. We got a good old Starro and Batman. Who's that? Is that Clayface? World's Finest, Batman and Superman. Is that Paul? It looks like Paul Pope did that. I'm not sure. I'm sure they have credits. And it's all these different artists, yeah, that did. I think this was like a one shot. And a cover by Frank Quietly. Let's see if there's any standout names to me. Doug Mankey, Jay Stevens, Paul Pope, Howard Porter, Gene Ha, Stuart Immelman. Yeah, pretty cool. I bought it for $1. All right, only 2 more to go. This I saw on the newsstand. This is new. This is the new Challengers of the Unknown by DC. All in. DC is all in now, y'all. And I was like, okay, they're doing a new Challengers of the Unknown book. Mr. Terrific is in it, which is cool. I don't know anything about this reboot of Challengers of the Unknown, but I did see Batman on the cover as well. I don't know if he's part of the team now or something. It'd be kind of cool if he was, but then again, I don't. The cool thing about it, well, I mean, the Challengers are a non-super power team, but this also looks like, is that Wonder Woman? So she's part of the team. So traditionally, they haven't had superpowers on this team. They've been like Batman, just getting by on their strength, intelligence, intellect, and their willpower. So yeah, I don't know. I figured I'm a fan of Challengers of the Unknown, so I wanted to pick it up and take a look at it and see what the heck is going on with them and see if it's any good. If I like it, I'll continue to buy it. I don't do pull lists. Um, there's also a Metamorpho preview in here too, so I guess maybe they're doing another Metamorpho book. But yeah, I don't do pull lists. I just go, you know, once a month and see. My local comic shop is really good about keeping back issues readily available. They have a whole section, that goes for current runs of comics. You can go and find 4, 5, 6, 10 issues back still before they drop them in the back issue boxes. Um, Do a Power Bomb by Daniel Warren Johnson. So I was looking for some Transformers TPBs, and the guy was like, "We don't have much, but I can recommend this by Daniel Warren Johnson." He's like, "If you like wrestling comics," and I'm like, "I like wrestling from the '80s, especially, but not really wrestling comics." He's like, "Pick it up." He's like, "It's so good. If you don't like it, bring it back, and I'll give you a refund." And I'm like, "Well, I'm leaving like in a couple of days, and you're going to be closed on Christmas." So, but I thumbed through it, and I like it. It's got the DWJ frenetic, crazy action that he's known for. It looks like a cross between. Actually, I think I subconsciously read this somewhere. Yeah, on the back here it says it's like a cross between the movie The Wrestler, which was great with Mickey Rourke, a cross between The Wrestler meets Dragon Ball Z. So it's a fight comic basically, but it's wrestling, and it's pretty decent size TPB. He did this. DWJ did this before Transformers. So if y'all have read this, let me know what you think of it. I'm definitely going to read it. I have not read a fraction of his Transformers stuff. I'm sort of just kind of like hoarding it until I'm just going to read it all through. Um, but I love what I've seen, and I love his channel. I think the guy is just is one of the best things going in comics right now across the board. Okay, last item. This I'm really excited about. Sir Edward Grey, Witchfinder. Omnibus, Volume 1, From the World of Hellboy. Yeah, this looks spectacular. Um, you know, Mike Mignola, probably, I'm sure he created by him. I'm sure he wrote a good portion of this. Art by several different artists, all of them looking very appropriate for this sort of gothic horror material. And with the release of that Nosferatu movie, which is right up the alley of something like this, um, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna check this out. I hadn't. I love Hellboy. I love BPRD. Um, I've read the first Abe Sapien omnibus. So, just the whole Hellboy universe, I'm down with it, but there's just so much of it to get through. So, this is another plank of getting through that. I don't know how many of these omnibuses are out. I'm sure there's at least two. I don't know how long Witchfinder ran for, but this is a thick book. And like I said, there's lots of different artists on this, lots of different art styles, lots of different stories. So excited about that one. There was a book that I saw by Dan Abnett called Wall's End, which also looked unbelievably good. And I love Dan Abnett. Just I've never read anything from the guy that sucked, and his Warhammer stuff is amazing. Gaunt's Ghosts. So yeah, I didn't buy it because it was $50, and I was like, I'll buy it on Amazon. I think it's like 40% off. So I'll pick that up at some point. But that looks amazing. And I didn't even know that it existed. So, that's very cool. And I think that book, even though this Witchfinder is a pretty nice sized omnibus, Wall's End was even thicker than this. And these are books that you can just get immersed into these worlds, and stories and characters. As much as I like single issues, at the end of the day, I still just love an omnibus that I can just have right here in my hands and just get lost in it. Just read through it. And you don't have to worry about, I'm missing an issue, or I got to wait till next month's issue because I'm all caught up now. Um, that part of it is fun, but I don't want that to be my entire reading experience. Sometimes I just want to sit down and read all the way through. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining me. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you have a fantastic Happy New Year. And until the next one, and into 2025, stay geek.